Somewhere on a vast savanna about 50,000 years ago, a woman has been in labor for hours. She is squatting on the ground beside a small fire. Her mother stands behind her, holding her shoulders tightly for support. Two of her sisters are crouched directly in front of her. Meanwhile, the men have walked to the far side of the camp. Everyone in the band knows exactly what is happening. Nobody is on a smartphone. There is no doctor nearby. Modern hospitals don't exist either. No medical machines are monitoring vital signs. The only sounds are her heavy breathing, the crackling of the firewood, and the soft voices of the experienced women who have done this before. And in just a few minutes, a brand new newborn is going to take its first breath of air. It will enter a world that has remained unchanged for 300,000 years. What did our ancestors actually do when a baby arrived? The answer to this question opens one of the most quietly stunning chapters in all of human evolution. The truth is, our way of bringing children into the world is the strangest of any creature on the planet. Let's start with biology, because human birth is genuinely bizarre. Most mammals give birth completely alone. A mare foals in a quiet, secluded corner of a pasture. A cat hides away in a closet. A chimpanzee climbs into a tree and delivers without any outside help. The baby arrives, the mother licks it clean, and within just a couple of hours, it can stand on its own and follow her. The entire process is intimate and highly efficient. With humans, it is completely different. First and foremost, our babies' heads are enormous compared to the size of the birth canal. Wenda Trevathan, an anthropologist at New Mexico State University, has dedicated her entire life to studying this. She argues that humans are the only primates whose labor is so mechanically complex that mothers almost always require support. Animals can manage on their own. A human woman, however, is in most cases incapable of giving birth safely by herself. The unique anatomy of our pelvis, combined with the dimensions of a baby's skull, requires such a precise rotation through the birth canal that the help of other hands has been an absolute necessity for hundreds of thousands of years. That is why human birth has always been a collective event. In hunter-gatherer tribes, this ritual looks strikingly identical across the globe. The laboring mother is typically surrounded by other women. This means her mother, her sisters, or an experienced older woman acting as a midwife. The men leave, heading out to hunt or moving to the opposite end of the settlement. The women are in complete control of the process. The mother squats, leaning back against the helper. The space around them is cramped, the fire burns close by, and at times there is singing, while at others, a deep silence prevails. The helper catches the newborn. The umbilical cord is tied with plant fiber and cut with a sharp piece of stone or a shell. Granted, in some cultures, women did give birth alone. For example, the women of the Kung tribe in the Kalahari Desert traditionally walked out into the wild brush, far away from the camp. They would return a few hours later, already cradling a newborn in their arms. Their cultural ideal was resilience and total autonomy. Yet even these women had already helped deliver other babies before their own labor, and someone was always nearby, just in case complications arose. But despite all the cultural differences, there was one ironclad rule. The moment the baby entered the world, everything from that point onward revolved around skin-to-skin contact. In modern American hospitals, newborns are often wrapped tightly in swaddling blankets and placed in plastic bassinets on wheels. For 99% of human history, nothing of the sort existed. The infant was immediately placed naked onto the mother's bare chest, where it stayed. That is where it ate, and that is where it slept. The mother's body heat kept it warm, and the steady thumping of her heartbeat kept it calm. The mother's scent became the baby's very first knowledge of this world. This was not just a tradition, it was a matter of sheer survival, because a newborn cannot regulate its own body temperature or hide from predators. In the first months of life, the mother's body effectively replaced the entire external environment for the child. The placenta deserves special attention. Nearly every society on Earth has its own sacred rules regarding it. The Navajo bury it in the ground. Certain Indonesian peoples plant a tree directly over it. The indigenous Maori of New Zealand bury it in ancestral land, calling it wenua, which is also their word for land. The placenta was never viewed as mere biological waste. It was the very first thing your body ever shared with another human being. Who then helped raise the child next? The answer is simple: the entire community. In 2009, anthropologist Sarah Blaffer Hrdy published a groundbreaking book called Mothers and Others, which completely upended our understanding of parenting. She proved that humans are what scientists call cooperative breeders. grandmothers, older children, cousins, and friends. Everyone invests resources into every single child. The scientific term for this phenomenon is allomothering. Among the FA people of Central Africa, an infant is held by an average of 14 different people in a single day, and in the Hadza tribe, a baby can comfortably nurse from another woman if its mother is busy. Children as young as 4 or 5 years old already carry infants on their hips. In 1997, Kristen Hawkes of the University of Utah proposed the grandmother hypothesis. She noticed that the most productive foragers among the Hadza are women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, precisely because they aren't weighed down by their own infants. Evolution extended women's lifespans long past menopause for the exact purpose of allowing them to help feed their grandchildren. Anthropologists estimate that hunter-gatherer infants are in direct physical contact with someone between 90% and 95% of the day. They almost never lie awake entirely alone, simply staring at the ceiling. Researchers refer to the first 3 months of life as the fourth trimester, a period when the baby still desperately needs the conditions of the womb. Thanks to this constant physical contact, infants in these wild tribes almost never cry. The moment a Hadza baby begins to fuss, it is picked up and held within seconds. Tragically, child mortality in ancient times was catastrophic. Between 30% and 40% of children died before the age of 5 due to the complete lack of antibiotics. The modern Western world has completely rewritten these rules, and we are still trying to understand the heavy price we pay for isolating our children from that ancient collective warmth. This video was crafted by Adam to make big ideas simple and clear for you. Don't miss out on the next breakdown. Subscribe now and let's keep exploring together.